Are you a software developer or .NET developer, or do you like working with Vim or NeoVim? Then this video is for you. Welcome to Handcrafted Code. I'm David, and in this video I'll walk you through setting up a .NET development environment in Helix on Windows. If you're a fan of Vim or NeoVim, then Helix should feel instantly familiar. What makes Helix stand out is that it combines the speed and efficiency of modal editing with a modern batteries included experience, so you can stay focused on writing code instead of spending hours configuring your editor. For this video, I'm using a virtual machine running a fresh installation of Windows 11 Pro, so we'll be setting everything up completely from scratch. And don't worry, I'll include a link in the description to a gist with all of the commands that are running this video so that you can copy and paste them yourself. Also, if you're using Linux or Mac OS, I've got you covered too. I'm recording videos for those platforms as well. Okay, let's get started with this setup. Since my fresh installation of Windows 11 already has winget installed, I'm going to assume you have it too. Also, since this fresh installation also has the terminal app installed, I'm going to assume that you also have it. However, if you don't have them, these can be easily installed. You can Google how to do that. So I'm going to open the terminal now. Let me see if I can make the font bigger. Yep. All right, so the first thing is I'm going to install Git. So let me check. Okay, let me just reopen the terminal. Okay, so we have Git installed. Now I'm going to install Helix. I definitely read the terms and conditions. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to install the .NET SDK. So I need to go to dotnet.microsoft.com. I'm going to click on download and download SDK. Now, depending on your architecture, you might see here AMD 64 or some other architecture. Mine is ARM 64 because this virtual machine is running on a Mac OS host with the M4 chip. So I'm going to download it now. While it's installing, I'm just checking if Helix is okay. If I close and reopen the terminal, Helix, yep, okay, it's installed properly. Alright, so I just finished installing the .NET SDK. Now, I normally use OmniSharp for managing .NET applications through Helix. OmniSharp is what gives our editor C# superpowers. Helix is the editor, but OmniSharp is the tool running in the background that understands our .NET project. It provides features like code completion, diagnostics, auto definition, and other language features you'd expect from a modern development environment. It's referred to as language server, and you have language servers for other programming languages such as ECMAScript, JavaScript, Lua, Java. So you can look into those as well if you want. The website is omnisharp.net. So I'll just open up in here. Now, let's set up OmniSharp. I'm gonna create a directory for OmniSharp, and now I'm going to check the processor architecture. So I need you to make sure you run this command. I'm gonna get ARM64, but the majority of you are going to get AMD64. So for those of you who have ARM64, just follow the commands that I'm going to type on the screen. However, in the description, I'm going to have a link to all of the commands, and that's going to include the AMD64 commands as well. So I'm going to run mine. So this is to download OmniSharp. All right, let's extract it. Now I'm going to add OmniSharp to path for this PowerShell session. And now I'm going to add OmniSharp to the path permanently. And now I'm going to verify that OmniSharp is available. Okay, so we don't see any errors, which is a good thing. Now OmniSharp is running and is waiting for commands. So I'm going to close it. So I'm going to press Control C. Okay, now we need to have a look at the health configuration with this command. Oh, not this one. Let me try that again. Okay. Now to install netcode debugger, I need to first install Scoop. I have to do this because winget doesn't yet have the ability to install the netcode debugger. So I need to change the execution policy and then run this command to install Scoop. And now I'm going to use Scoop to install the netcode debugger. And now I need to check that the netcode debugger is available. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to close and reopen this just to be safe, to refresh everything. Okay, now let's test Helix integration again. And now we can see that the debug adapter has been set up. Now, if for some reason it still doesn't work, or if you get errors here, then you could set up the configuration, set up the Helix configuration. So you could run this command, which will create this file here. And in that file, you can add some configuration stuff. So everything is going to be in the link in the description. But yeah, I didn't get any issues here, so hopefully you don't either. Okay, now as far as setting up Helix and Helix as a .NET development environment is concerned, we are pretty much done. You can write code, you can make fixes, run .NET applications, build ASP.NET websites, and so on. Now let me just test. I haven't tested this on Windows, if I can debug. So I'm going to create a folder called repos, and in that folder I'm going to create my test. And in here I'm going to create a console application. And now let me test if I can build. and then run. Yep, hello world. Now let's open Helix at the current directory. And I'm going to open program.cs. I'm going to make a few copies of this line. And then I'm going to just add some numbers here to know what line we are executing. The next thing I'm going to do is add a breakpoint. And now I'm going to, oh wait, no, can I split this? Yes. Okay, so repos, my test. Let's go to bin, debug, net10, and then it generated a file called mytest.dll. So I'm gonna go, okay, so I'm gonna go back into Helix and I'm gonna press L for launch the debug target. And I'm going to, you could attach it to an existing process or you can just launch a new one. So I'm gonna select launch. And now it's asking me for the path to the DLL. So I'm going to copy this. And then I'm going to put in here my test.dll and hit enter. Allow. Let's try again. Launch. Didn't work. Let me try with the executable file. Nah. So yeah, I mean, this debugging feature at the moment is in experimental mode. So hopefully in the future this is a smoother process. All right, let me close this up and then close this. Oh wait. Let me just do one more test. Sorry. No. Nope, didn't work. Anyway, all right, let's exit here. How do I remove this folder again? Not an empty folder. Okay. All right, so yeah, so as far as normal business applications is concerned, we are pretty much ready to go. However, let's build a game using the Raylib framework, which is a code-first game development framework built in C, but we have C# bindings for it. Why are we doing this? Because we can do it, because it's fun. So let's do that. Okay, so for those of you who are running the AMD 64 architecture, which is going to be the vast majority of you, you just need to go to www.raylib.com. And then Raylib.com, and then just click on download now. So those are going to be the executable installation files for the AMD 64 architecture, but we don't have those installation files for the ARM architecture. So we're going to have to build it from source. So I have to build it from source because my CPU is ARM architecture. So let's do that. All right, so the first thing I need to do is install CMake. Now let's check the version. I probably have to. Okay. Now we need to install Visual Studio. So I need to go to this website and then click on Get Free Download. Double click on the installer. Now we need to click on Desktop Development for C++ or Desktop Development with C++ right here. And then install and maybe get a coffee because it's going to take a while. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to close this stuff and we need to download and build Raylib from source. So let's do that. We need to run developer PowerShell for Visual Studio. Oops. PowerShell for Visual Studio. And let's go to my repos folder. And now I'm going to clone Raylib. Let's go into Raylib. And now I'm going to configure an ARM64 shared library build with this command. And now I'm going to build Raylib.dll for ARM64 using CMake. And now I'm going to create a permanent folder for Raylib binaries. And now I'm going to copy the ARM64 Raylib-DLL into that permanent folder. Oh, and by the way, you'll have to replace this. That's my account, Windows account username. You'll have to change it to yours. And now I'm going to add the Raylib folder to the path for this PowerShell session. And now I'm going to add the Raylib folder to the path permanently. Now let's go back and create the actual game. So I'm going to go back to the normal terminal, increase the font. All right, so let's create a new folder called my Raylib game. And then let's create a new console inside that folder. Now I'm going to add the NuGet package Raylib-cs. Now I prepared some code earlier for this, so let me just copy paste it here. So I'm gonna open Helix at the current directory. Then I'm gonna go to program.cs, delete this line. Now I want to show you something. I'm gonna paste the code, and we might get some errors. Yes. Now the reason this is happening, the reason you see some errors here is because on Windows, when you do a copy paste, Helix will immediately insert closing brackets. And so you end up with extra indentation and extra closing brackets if you do this. So we have to disable something called auto pairs. So let me just undo this change. And now I'm going to go set auto pairs false. And now when I paste it, it should be fine. And now I can say set auto pairs set, I don't know how to autocomplete that part. Set auto pairs true. Then I'm going to save that. And now I'm going to do .NET build and .NET run. So yeah, this is the small demo application to control this hovering ball at 60 frames per second. And that's it. All right then, I hope you found this video useful. Take care, code well, and I'll see you in the next video.